It don't matter if you're red or blue. I'm gonna pick somebody with a plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
I'm gonna rhyme it.
with the plan, right?
I thought I was gonna rhyme it.
You robbed us of the rhyme.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Careful Boys. Today we're talking about how the lab leak theory was confirmed on the White House website.
Crazy.
Go to whitehouse.gov. They actually admit that, yep.
Where did everybody go that hated us for saying that years ago?
Were you guys here when we talked about it, or was it like
I was.
the other group?
What do you mean?
Yeah. What do you mean? What's the other group?
The early, like, when COVID happened.
Oh, when COVID was happening, we were talking about how maybe it was lab leak.
I felt like we said it like a couple weeks right after.
Because it was being talked about all over the internet.
Yeah.
And some people are like, that's just conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. And yeah, turned out to be pretty legit.
But then if Trump didn't win the election, wouldn't we just see the opposite thing on whitehouse.gov?
Probably.
Well, they confirmed it while Biden was president still, right?
Yeah.
We heard that the lab leak happened while Biden was president. So
It
they
was
just
also
couldn't keep it.
confirmed that it happened once Fauci got fully pardoned.
Which is weird.
I basically
Why not weird,
confirmed it.
So I don't disagree at all.
Had to be fair, right? At least.
Should we, for the sake of it, maybe read, because it's really short. Actually.
Yeah, read it.
Read a couple
Love to know.
I got it.
specific parts.
For all the people that was against it, regardless, they're all quiet now. I mean, they're
Dude, they
for
got
it.
amnesia. They don't even remember that they were against
Yeah.
it. That's what me off the most.
But I keep sending the people that were mad at me. I keep sending them. shit.
Nice! Fucking petty, dude.
I'm a petty motherfucker.
Do they respond?
It just goes scene. I'm like, that's right, motherfucker. Just know I'm willing to slap y'all still.
Okay, so the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally, which we made fun of in this very room.
Yep.
How they always blamed all the people in the wet markets for being
Chinese
dirty little plebs.
Yeah, they were like, Chinese people are eating bats.
Yeah,
Do I
'cause
look
they're
like I
so
eat
dirty.
bats?
Because every time they can blame the poors, they will.
The farthest people from the mic.
Exactly.
Dang.
They say, number one, the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature.
Ooh.
Number two, data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans.
Wow.
This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. Number three, Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene altering, and organism.
Remember when they completely denied all gain of...
Fauci did this many times,
Yeah.
and he did it every time to Rand Paul, who's trying to get him on it, and every time he's like, sir, you are lying, you are lying. Ugh.
I mean, to me, it just seems so stupid that it's called the Wuhan Institute for Coronavirus, and then everyone's like, that doesn't exist. And I'm like, it says it on the building. It's like the Wuhan Institute. Like, what the fuck?
Many people wouldn't even acknowledge that until Jon Stewart said it on Colbert. But that was it was a known thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, number four, Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market.
Stupid, dude.
And number five, by nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't.
Oh.
You dig?
That's a big one.
Yeah. And then they have this, which is the
Hunan.
nailed it, seafood market, and then the Wuhan Institute of Virology, 7.5 miles away. So they scapegoated this little wet
Perfect
market.
cover.
I can't believe we were conspiracy theorists for pointing these things out.
Best, dude. Never, dude. The official sources, bro. They're all. It's
Is
official
that on
sources.
the White House, the map and everything?
Yeah,
This is-
White
I'm
House.
literally reading it from there. Yeah.
Wetmarket.gov. That's what it's.
China.
And
China.
And then they mention the Fauci pardon. They say, a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States, which he may have committed or taken part of, from January 1st of 2014.
2014?
Yes.
Whoa.
He's pardoned for a decade?
For a decade.
Offenses against the United States. When you put out a full and unconditional pardon for offenses against the United States.
And that's what Joe Biden did and signed.
That means that you made offenses against the United States.
Well, that's what they would say. Remember when they were pinning down Trump's kids for Russia stuff? And they were saying, like, is Trump going to pardon his kids? And, like, innocent people don't need pardons.
But apparently Fauci does.
Apparently.
But that's so weird because, like, freaking, I know that, like, I remember they were saying we're doing this because we don't want Trump's administration to attempt to come after him. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, of course.
Cover up story.
That's gaslighting right there.
That to, like, do anything. But then, like,
Because he didn't do anything.
is their faith that low that they wouldn't be able to defend him, like, in the normal course of the law? And I know both sides do this shit, but they really didn't think Fauci could be defended, like, at all?
Cut a deal.
For 10 years of shit?
Or maybe they couldn't risk it because he knows the whole game.
Yeah.
But then if, like, Fauci was just honest throughout this whole thing, like...
If Fauci cut a deal, can you imagine if he knows everything? If he cut a deal with whoever's prosecuting him, and he's like, I'll give you guys everything. That's what I think's going on.
That's crazy.
That's my cynical.
I guess also if you have the power to pardon, then why not do it?
Yeah.
Also,
He was the highest paid person in government for like the last couple of
More than the president.
Exactly. So like you got to know a couple of things I think to keep getting your pay boosted above the president.
Whatever happened to that whole signing with auto pen, the pardons thing?
I have literally no idea.
What's that mean?
Oh, like people were given the Biden administration shit because they had like deducted that everything was signed by auto pen.
They're taking a bunch of Joe Biden signatures and matching them, basically saying they're completely consistent, which is unusual if he's actually signing them.
does he actually have to physically sign each one?
According to the Constitution, the president has to be present and sign.
Well, that's a lot of work.
How'd they fucking do that in that amount of time? There was like 1,000 something, right?
Bro, I have no idea.
Didn't they pardon like hundreds of
By
people?
the way, in history, there's been times where presidents have signed a document and then like used a page or somebody to send
Legally, you can
deliver it somewhere else. So I don't know how the legalese works.
You know what they need? A stamp. So then they go boom, 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 boom.
But I think that's what they
Well,
don't.
that's what the seal is. That's already technically a stamp, and then it's in addition to the signature.
And you gotta do that?
I think that's what they don't want. 'Cause
I mean,
the
I've done a
president
meet and greet.
uniquely.
I'm no president, but I've done a meet and greet and my fucking fingers get tired.
Yeah, but that's like you have millions of
The
fans.
president uniquely has the power of the pardon, right? So the idea is that the government, like his office can't do it for him. It has to be the president.
Yeah, right.
So like if it was an auto pen,
And that's only how they treat pardons specifically?
that's in particular with pardons. That's how it works. Like the president has the right to pardon, right? So by the way, there's stuff that hasn't been adjudicated by any court yet. So it's like, is that illegal? Like not necessarily. We don't know because if the president is aware that it's going on and he's signing off on it, what's the difference? Isn't that just like not a big deal? It's like ceremonial. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that
in
haven't been.
conjunction with the idea that he's got like a deteriorating mind.
I think they're just so exhausted at the thought of having to question him anymore.
Right. Well, I actually think this thing's a fugazi, the auto pen thing, because it's not like you think Biden's not down to pardon his kid. I think he is. You think Biden's not down to pardon Fauci? I think.
Also,
he is.
you think they didn't pre-plan that this would happen? Like, that's a pretty big thing. They weren't like, oh, better pardon everybody.
Right.
I'm sure them shits are already laying there, just waiting to be like fucking processed.
100%.
I don't think pardons should actually apply for treason.
Yeah. Any offenses against the United States?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's to me is weird. Like you're a person of the state, you work for the state, and you committed treason, and you attacked the U.S. people.
The things that resulted from that particular treason.
But part of it is that Lincoln did this, and also his successor did this in the wake of the Civil War, right? Because there was a lot of stuff against, our government at the time, and they had to pardon all these people to kind of calm tensions that were happening in the South. So there's a precedent for that too.
But that was like you're pardoning former enemies for like potential war crimes, right?
But for
'Cause you're trying to
offenses against the
heal.
United States.
Yeah.
Against the United States.
Literally, but yeah.
But that's like the Confederates, and you're like trying to heal as a country.
Right.
But when it's
And there was a debate at the time about that, by the way. There was people who didn't want to do that. So it's kind of the same conversation.
kinda, I
that we're having.
guess, if you see Fauci as the opposition and representing one side, but he was a doctor. I mean, he was he was in both parties. Like,
But he was
what
lying.
happened during
He was advocating against lab leak theory when he, in fact, privately was admitting on emails and stuff like that that he was very aware that that was probably what happened.
I guess my point is like, what side is he representing? Because like I can understand the Confederates. It's like you're trying to join a union together with rogue state, right?
Yeah.
But like with Fauci, he was in both
Oligarch and
administrations.
corporations. That's what he was representing.
Yeah, he was saving big pharma, and ultimately he was representing big pharma because they're the ones pushing the
Yeah,
vaccine.
then he doesn't need a pardon because it's not it's against Americans.
He needs a pardon for things that, again, I think that we don't even know about. Like
testing on
I think
dogs?
that if they were to get him, this is pure theory, I have no idea. But why else do that? Why else would you do this? Because they could basically say, hey, guess what, Anthony Lee, like we are going to prosecute you. And then he's like, you know what? I will give you everything. I'll give you everybody who's involved. I'll give you the name of the labs. I'll give you the name of the labs you don't even know about. Yeah. And then
As long as you give me a pardon.
well,
Anthony
right.
Fauci.
Well, right, exactly. Let's cut a deal.
On
And so
today.
that, to me, the deal is he won't be able to do that with the prosecutor because he has this pardon.
I see.
But what he has to do, as part of getting a pardon, and this is what I'm interested to see, if he gets deposed by Congress, he cannot plead the fifth. He has to say everything per the pardon, right? So everything that is in accordance with the pardon, he has to spill on. He can't do I plead the Fifth Amendment, I don't want to incriminate myself. He can't do that because he can't incriminate himself. He has a pardon. So that's what's fascinating about this for me personally.
Interesting.
So he can be open.
Exactly. If they pull him to Capitol Hill and he gets subpoenaed and he has to speak, he has to tell the truth, or he can endanger his pardon.
I just assumed that the pardon was part of the deal from the start. Like they're like, hey, you're gonna have to be this figurehead and do these things, but this is your out. Kind of like if you ask somebody to roll a dice across a Monopoly board, they get a get out of jail free card
Dude,
prior.
it's what happened with Iran-Contra with Reagan.
Yeah.
He pardoned Oliver North.
Because what motivation would Fauci have to do any of that shit? If
Outside of the tens of millions of dollars.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
yeah, but then still, whatever money you get could just be seized. Without the pardon, all that's useless.
It's interesting. Yeah. I don't disagree.
He really wanted that yacht.
You got a yacht?
But if you remember during Iran-Contra, and this is might be way too old for some of you watching, they were drug running, right? And Ollie North was helping to run all of this, and he got fully pardoned. And his job was to sit there in Capitol Hill when they were interrogating him about the operation, and he said the president had no knowledge, I had no recollection. All that beautiful language, right, was done to protect the president, and he got get a jail-free card. And he got a Fox News job for like the next 30 years.
So when someone gets a pardon, it's like non-contestable. Like that's a closed case.
So it depends because on state side wise, like it doesn't count. We're talking about federal, right? Federally, it counts. So like if you have a federal case against you, the president can pardon you. If you're guilty of a state crime, president can't pardon you. It's different because we have like the power of the executive is a federal.
So the states can come after him?
The states. That's why they were trying to go after Trump in New York courts.
Right. That's why New York was trying to do it.
Exactly right. Because it couldn't have been pardoned even if a Republican became president.
Yeah, but how's that going right now?
Well, they all collapsed under their own weight because the Justice Department was pushing all that stuff. So once the Justice Department head got flipped out, that was just like deuces.
You ain't touching him.
Well, they got him on some dumb shit, man. It was just dumb shit.
40 accounts, whatever.
You ain't got it. None of y'all got it.
They succeeded in the social sentiment of people
The
going.
smear campaign.
Well, people think he's a convicted criminal. Yeah.
They think he's like liable for a grape.
And they still call him we have a rapist for president.
Yeah.
People still say that, which then mission accomplished in that way, I guess.
And I think that's what the whole thing was. I think Subin agrees with me. I think the whole thing was to just sully, like murk the waters up for him so
Just piss in the pool as much as you can.
Exactly. That he couldn't run successfully because his image would be so bad.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's how tired they are of all the shit that should have worked technically.
But didn't.
You know what I mean?
I know.
But it's not because people are so fucking sick of
People
everything.
don't believe the media anymore. They don't believe politicians.
Yeah.
They all got destroyed by Bernie. We all thought Bernie was going to be like the next coming of.
I know.
You know what I mean? And he betrayed everybody and endorsed everybody who ran against him, Hillary Clinton, then Biden. And don't be surprised, by the way, they're doing this little tour right now about the oligarchy, blah, blah, blah. Don't be surprised when both AOC and Bernie endorsed Gavin Newsom for president in 4 years. I can't wait.
You know they are.
AOC got caught right on first class.
Really?
Yeah, so like during that tour of like eat the rich and all that shit, she was sitting first class and all of her constituents were in fucking coach.
That's so funny.
Some guy took a photo of her and then he tried to talk to her and she wasn't trying to talk to him. And he was.
I think she has the highest approval rating for running for president next.
It's for a Democrat, yeah.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna go nowhere near that shit.
She might.
Man, she ain't nothing.
You don't know because
People like her, bro.
She might, dude.
it is a long
people
time.
love
People
her.
like her.
And everybody-
Perfect. Look who you guys are picking. I'm the opposite, okay?
I'm just saying, and
We're not picking
everybody's
anybody.
still, like,
You think we're picking AOC?
We just know what people
so many
like.
people will also just fight for her because she's a her.
Yeah.
Like that just as a conversation.
But by the way, so many people will vote against her because she's a her.
Well, no, and that's exactly why she won't go for it. Because if that's the only reason, it's because it's a her.
I
It's
think
not
you're
gonna
right.
work.
I think he's right. I think the Democrats are
They failed 3 times.
They're
doing that.
so divided.
using a woman to try to win the
And
presidency.
that's what Kamala was supposed to be because it's a her. That
Which
failed.
I think is a fugazi because what was it? Hillary lost by like 30,000 votes or something like that. Like, or no, she won, but she won the popular vote, but like she lost the electoral college by like 40,000 votes. Or something.
Yep.
Damn.
Because she cheated.
She just about won the whole damn thing.
No, because she cheated. And
How'd she
still
cheat?
lost. We know why. Those popular votes, she cheated on those.
Hillary cheated?
Yeah, for sure.
With wow, how?
She didn't win though.
She cheats on everything.
She cheated to lose?
No, that's what I'm
Here's what I
saying.
think. Here's what I think. You want to know?
She cheated and still lost.
So stupid.
You know, James Comey, when he came out, FBI director at the time, he came out, right? Like what, 6 days before the election, he says, reopening the investigation to Hillary Clinton's emails.
Yes.
They spent a weekend doing whatever they're doing, control effing a bunch of Hillary Clinton's emails. They come out that Monday. She's Gucci. I think that actually destroyed Hillary. Wow. I think that was enough.
The scandal
It was so close to the election.
emails?
He interfered with the election, and I think that actually gave the election to Trump. Wow. I really do. And it was so close. How do you not think?
I think it was her campaign.
Well, that was
her,
bad.
her tag was "I'm with her," and the reason why Obama won is because he scooped up all the Bush voters that were working class.
Well, she also refused to go to a lot of the blue wall states.
Yeah, she should have gone to the swing states and like campaigned in what Obama
She was
did.
doing like a lot of the usual swing states, but she wasn't going to the blue wall states, and that's how Trump took her off the legs, as Nick would say.
Trump scooped up all the Obama voters.
And after what she did at Benghazi,
Democrats don't care, dude.
But it didn't stick.
Yeah.
I don't think Benghazi really stuck.
Nobody knows where that is.
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
think.
but that's the problem. Nobody knows that shit.
yeah.
But the fact that she even pulled that move to our own fucking soldiers,
Yeah.
hell no, she can.
Well, and the ambassador, he died in a horrible way.
It's really bad.
All of them.
But not, yeah.
I really think AOC is gonna go fucking fall.
I think so too. Bro.
She's so directly representative of how people really feel.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like on that side of
She has
things.
a lot of normal people.
Dude,
She's way better than Kamala too on camera.
She's gonna go like this.
She's
Dude,
dead on.
She's gonna go
that's
like
who they
this.
want. They want someone
Yeah.
like her.
Yep.
She's dead on, and she's like, she's the perfect amount of visibly pissed off that everyone who loves her also is.
But can you imagine her debating
And then-
JD though?
and then
no, they're gonna avoid. I think Dems are smarter now to avoid as much debate as possible.
But they're gonna have to though.
Yeah, they have to. It's ceremonial.
They gotta at least have one.
Yeah.
But they'll be there. But I don't think they're gonna truly debate.
Yeah, because she's gonna start crying.
It'll be JD versus the media
she won't.
stooges as usual.
She won't cry, dude.
I think they're definitely have enough poli-sci freaks on their side to like be able to determine where they went wrong for the past shit and try to correct those. But AOC, man, I'm telling you that.
I'm telling
She's
you,
taking-
though,
so reflective.
if she really does lean into the woke shit, she's gonna lose.
Yeah, that thing is over for Democrats.
It's over, and she keeps saying more woke shit all the time, and I'm like, dude, this is so tired.
I think they're just gonna try to refine the woke shit on their end.
There's-
I don't. They'll never drop it, but I think they're gonna take.
Yeah, they're still gonna call out the oligarchy and capitalism and all that, but
But they need somebody like a Mark Cuban who's going to go in there and just like say, I don't care about this woke shit. Here's 10 things we can do to help America right now, and then stay on that message the whole time. And somebody like that could win.
That's true. Mark Cuban.
You know what?
Yeah,
You know what?
I'll
You know
take
what's an interesting analysis? If they truly do drop just drop the woke shit, then that means they found out how many woke people actually voted.
Legit.
Because if the numbers come back that they did, like all these activists didn't truly vote, then they're gonna be like, well, then fuck that. Like, why did we campaign?
Even
for
Gavin
sure?
Newsom just dropped the woke shit when he was talking to Charlie Kirk on his podcast.
Yeah.
Because they realized that pandering to it didn't matter as much as they thought it did. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mark Cuban could be very dangerous. as far as if you're a Republican, I would vote for Mark Cuban because he's actually a pragmatist. He's like, here's what I would do. Here's how you fix the drug company situation right now. Here's how you fix what's going on prescription.
People would
drugs.
love that.
Exactly.
And he's Team Blue.
And he's already been. Doesn't he have that company that's like making?
Yes, cost plus
Yeah,
drugs.
dude,
Yes.
like,
But is he
That's a
not
big
like
W
is
for
he
him.
not like looped in too hard with like so many outside interests?
I think they all are. So I don't think it really matters.
Not
that
the
much.
typical, especially if he's like in a big fight with Big Pharma already, and he happens to be.
He's already kneecapping them, as
Yeah.
Nick would say.
Yeah.
So this is me. This is me though. It don't matter if you're red or blue. I'm gonna pick somebody with the plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Man,
gonna rhyme it.
with the plan, right?
I thought I was gonna write it.
You robbed us of the rhyme.
Yeah. Fuck.
But
And the video.
If Mark Cuban runs, he'll win.